Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be having a look at a favourite subject of mine. We're going to be looking at 5 high-end barbershop fragrances that I think are really great that you can sample at Fragrance Samples UK. Speaking of barbershops, we had a bit of a scandal in my local area recently. I was reading in the local paper today. Apparently a lady at the local hairdressers has been arrested for selling herself on the streets at night, which I was absolutely shocked about. I've actually been a customer of hers for many years, and she never told me she was a hairdresser as well. Okay guys, yes, so welcome back. 5 amazing barbershop style but high-end niche fragrances, a real favourite topic of mine today, and the video is sponsored by my friends over at Fragrance Samples UK, where you can sample all of these fragrances by following the link in the description down there. As I film this, they're just coming to the end of a special promotion, so you might want to check that out, but either way, the link is in the description, all these fragrances available there. It's my recommended place to buy samples if you're in the UK or 13 other European countries that you can find listed in the description. Fantastic range, I think it's over 700 designer and niche fragrances, and it's run by my great friend Greg from the Greggieboy76 channel, one of the greatest fragrance reviewers ever. Okay, let's get stuck into the list then. So, the barbershop style fragrance, what do we mean by that? Well, here's a traditional example of a not so high-end barbershop fragrance, things like Brut. We're normally talking about what we call an aromatic fougere fragrance, kind of a green, soapy and ferny smell. Fougere means fern-like, and there are tons of these really inexpensive ones, things like Fabergé's Brut aftershave here, which smell nice. But I love the idea when people create a niche version of this with more expensive ingredients, perhaps slightly more fancy packaging too. They're going to last a bit longer, be a bit more complex, but still capture that kind of clean cut, fresh out of the barbershop, masculine, soapy, clean, a little bit green and leafy kind of vibe that you want with your barbershop scent. So let's see which ones I've picked out. Here we go. Okay, so my first one is very appropriately named. It's a new addition to my collection, and this is Maison Margiela Replica Series at the Barbers. So it does exactly what it says on the tin. So the idea of this one, they've actually said that it's based on, it took its inspiration from a Barbers in Madrid in 1992. Superb fragrance, really, really nice. I'm wearing it today actually. And this was a 2014 release, perfume at Louise Turner. I'll give you the note listing. We've got basil, bitter orange, black pepper, lavender, rosemary, geranium, white musk, moss, leather and tonka bean. If you like Platinum Egoist from Chanel, it's a little bit like a slightly higher quality maybe rendition of that. It's got a lot of similarities with that one. It's got this very soapy, clean cut, almost a hint of a slightly metallic aura in there as well. Very, very fresh, not really very citrusy, but quite soapy, I would say. A little bit of a kind of white musk feel in there definitely comes through. If there's a leather in there, it's a very clean leather, and it's a very, very clean cut, fresh, but not in a citrusy way, more in that shaving foam-esque way. This really does capture that vibe. You know, all shaving foams probably have a slightly different smell, but it gives you that shaving foam, shaving soap, fresh out of the barber. Maybe you're in Europe somewhere, wearing a clean white shirt, going out for the evening afterwards. It's a really, really nice, clean cut, very high quality fragrance. Perhaps the most simple kind of barbershop-ish one of the lot in this list. Some of the others take this idea and put a bit of a twist on it, but I really like at the Barbers when I just want to smell fresh and clean, kind of a dumb reach for your everyday work scent, that kind of thing. Good stuff indeed. Decent performance on this for me so far. Okay, really quick honourable mention. I won't include this in the list because it's my own brand. Norton & Wilson's Gravitas, a superb fougere fragrance by perfumer John Stephen. We would be happy to think of this as a kind of an upscale rendition of a barbershop style fragrance, and we're really proud to have that one available to sample at Fragrance Samples UK. Okay, so my next addition proper in the list is a real favourite of mine and a really unique and distinctive smell. Florist number 89. This one's been going since 1951, famously the preferred fragrance of James Bond author Ian Fleming, a classic British fragrance house. And I think I've heard that even Winston Churchill used to favour this one too. So this again is a very soapy, kind of slightly dandyish fragrance with a different twist here. It's got a little bit of a floral thing in here, quite a pronounced rose note I find. I'll give you the note listing for this one. You've got bergamot, lavender, neroli, nutmeg, orange petitgrain, geranium rose, ylang ylang, cedar, musk, oak moss and sandalwood. So you get this lovely fresh kind of citrus opening, typical kind of fresh citrus note, definitely a soapy accord, a bit of a spiciness with the nutmeg and a nice woody base too, but this definite hint of a stuffy old-fashioned vibe with some floral notes that you're either going to like or you're really not, but it really has that old school I've just, maybe if you went to a barber in a rather posh part of London or somewhere like that, it gives you that real upschool, clean-cut, gentlemanly kind of vibe. Soapy, fresh, kind of thing you'd want to spray on your hanky, in your top pocket, that kind of thing. Really, really good stuff. Try it. It's a great one. You've got to like your old school smells, but I think an absolute barbershop style classic in a sort of more posh version. Florist number 89. Okay, next on the list, it really had to be in here. It's Penhaligon's Sartorial, a legendary fragrance in the fragrance community, really. We've had this one since 2010 now, and it's Bertrand Duchefort, the legendary perfumer who created this one. It's themed after the Norton and Sons tailors in Savile Row, and a nice story indeed we have with this one. So some of the notes include metallic notes, which are supposed to sort of symbolize the scissors in the tailor's workshop. There's pepper in here, there's beeswax, which I think they put on the thread or something in a tailor shop. You've got some more typical stuff like lime and neroli, cedar in there. There's a honey note. I'm not sure what that has to do with the barbershop, but anyway, aldehydes, and apparently there's some kind of thing that's meant to capture the smell of a steam press. And I really get that note in this one, of that kind of thing. If you've ever ironed a woolen suit or woolen jumper, you have to kind of turn the iron down low, but it gives off this certain kind of smell, which is very distinctive, and I get a hint of that in here. Some people call this a sort of poshened up version of Brut, or even Pinard's Clubman. It's definitely got that soapy kind of vibe, a freshness about it, and with this kind of slight metallic thing, a little bit of sweetness with the beeswax. Very, very unique and distinctive. Again, a slightly old-fashioned but less dated, I think. If you like Florist 89's aura, this gives you a similar kind of brand identity, really, with Penhaligon's. That same kind of you know, old-fashioned London gentleman vibe, but not so dated smelling, and yet has that retro vibe that you might really like. Lovely story with the tailor's workshop thing, and it really does kind of conjure up that image when you think about it. So Sartorial, superb stuff. Good performance for me on Sartorial. Florist number 89, sort of okay, but not amazing. So this one had to be in here, one of your absolute favourites if you're looking for a high-end barbershop style scent that's not dated. Okay, next on the list, something a bit different now, which we kind of needed, because those are very similar kind of aura about all those ones I've mentioned so far, but here's something a little different. It's MDCI Parfums Invasion Barber, highly rated fragrance, got a really high rating from the renowned and hard to please critic Luca Turin in one of his books. This one's Stephanie Bacouche, the perfumer, and it takes this kind of barbershop clean-cut theme, clever idea with the play on words with the name Invasion Barber, and it adds a little bit more of a sort of powdery, exotic, spicy vibe to the fragrance. I'll give you the note listing. 2005 release: violet leaf, grapefruit, bergamot, lavender, cardamom, thyme, ginger, vanilla, musk, and patchouli. So it has a lot of those kind of fresh, clean-cut notes, but it's not so soapy. There's a real powderiness to this one, a bit of spiciness, and this subtle hint of sweet vanilla gives you something more of a neo barbershop or oriental barbershop vibe. Very, very nice, and again, one of the more sort of sexy ones, I think, that might be appealing to members of the opposite sex, whereas the other one's a bit more just sort of clean cut, fresh. This one has something a little bit more exotic and enticing about the scent. Very nice performance, great fragrance. Just a quick honourable mention as well, there's another one by the same brand which is a more traditional barbershop scent, and that is Le Barbier de Tanger. Comes in the same kind of bottle, and I've got a little official sample there of that one. Much more similar maybe to something like At the Barbers. Really good, but it's an expensive brand, and maybe if you're going to spend that money, you might go for their more famous one, the Invasion Barber, a little bit more unique and different. But this Le Barbier de Tanger, if you just want more of a dry, soapy, fresh, clean-cut vibe with really high quality ingredients, it is still a good one, worth checking out a sample. Okay, so my final inclusion is going to be a real favourite from me, and it's Milano Shinto Him. It's a superb fragrance, a really nice story behind this one. It's an English brand themed around Italy, of course, with the name Milano Shinto. 1989 release originally, and it was kind of a passion project that they brought it back to life in 2016, and they've done a really good job. I've never smelled the original, but it's a fantastic, again, clean cut, fresh and vibrant, a little bit of an Italian kind of citrus grove vibe in the opening of this one. You've got lemon, bergamot, petitgrain, lavender, rosemary, basil, clary sage, sandalwood, patchouli, clove, cinnamon, amber and musk. So there's some kind of warm spicy notes in the middle of this one. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Xerius, the original Xerius from Givenchy, which you can't get anymore. That's a compliment because I love that fragrance. And this one captures some of that nice kind of soapy and yet slightly rich and a little bit spicy vibe with some warming kind of undertones coming through with the sandalwood and patchouli. So it's quite a good all year round fragrance. It's fresh, but it's got a little bit of depth to it too, and really, really great stuff. And if you do opt for a full bottle, maybe after sampling from Fragrance Samples UK, you can pick this up for some really, really reasonable prices online. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about my choices. They're high-end barbershop fragrances from niche houses. Of course, there's probably tons that I've missed out, so let me know about those in the comments down below. That's all for today. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. And don't forget to follow the link in the description to check out all these fragrances and many more at Fragrance Samples UK.